Bonjour mes amis, je m'appelle Tito, je fais des vidéos sur les finances personnelles sur mon autre chaîne, mais sur cette chaîne je parle d'autres choses comme aujourd'hui où je vais revoir le film ÉGÚN.
When an evil curse is placed on a group of people, they have to put their heads together to figure out how to break the curse while at the same time dealing with some personal demons. Egun's story is by Olaitan and Kayode Kasum, and the film is produced by Ife Olujuyigbe and it's directed by Carmen Lilian Okoro.
Now, this is going to be a spoiler-free review because I don't want to ruin the movie for those of you who plan to go and see it in the cinema where it's currently showing, and I don't want to ruin it for the filmmakers either. Incidentally, this is the third horror film that I'm reviewing in a row. 2 weeks ago, I reviewed Madame Coin Coin Chapter 1. Last week, I reviewed Madame Coin Coin Chapter 2. And now, I'm reviewing ÉGÚN. Yay, Nollywood. Anyway, this film ÉGÚN is brought to you by the same people who brought us Ile Owo last year, 2022. That film was directed by Olaitan. I think the story was by him. But for this film, ÉGÚN, the screenplay is by Olaitan and the story is by Kayode Kasum. This is also a Film Tribe Studios movie. So basically, it's the same group of people, or the same team that did that film that do this film ÉGÚN as well. All that context to one side, let's dive into it, beginning with les performances. I'll begin with Gideon Okeke. In this film, he plays this character called Mr. Obi, who is a bit of an eccentric character and who is going through some things. Now, Gideon is a fantastic actor. If I were to name the top 10 Nollywood actors between the ages of 25 and 45, Gideon Okeke's name will be in that top 10. Hey, he may even be in the top 5. He's a good actor, and his acting was good in this film. However, it did feel like he was acting in a different film from everyone else. His tempo or his delivery was not at the same frequency of the other actors. That's how it felt to me. Maybe they gave him like free range to express himself or to interpret this character the way he saw fit, but the other characters in the film, particularly the characters that he shares scenes with, their tempo or their pacing or their energy doesn't necessarily match his. So as a result, it kind of did feel like a mismatch, even though Gideon's acting was actually quite good. Adedimeji Lateef, he's also in this film as a character who is like a fish out of water, let me put it that way. He's very green to the whole experience that he finds himself thrust into, and it was very emotionally demanding, I'd say, for Adedimeji Lateef, because his character goes through a range of emotions in this film, and it's Adedimeji Lateef. He delivers. You know, he's good at expressing a wide range of emotions in films, and he does a really good job. In fact, I think his character, in terms of delivery, was the best or the most well-rounded in the film, because I do recall thinking that, oh, Adedimeji Lateef he's doing quite well with what's demanded of his character in this film. So there was that. I can't really say, the thing I wasn't particularly on board with his character, Jimmy, was who they paired as his wife, you know, in the film. Moving on, Bolaji Ogunmola is also in the film. You may at some point forget that Bolaji Ogunmola is in this film, to be honest, but she does have a magnificent scene that has or showcases some physical acting from her, which is why, you know, I made sure that I mentioned her under the performances of this film. The physical acting in that scene won't go unnoticed, I think, and it was very good, and kudos to her for that scene. Omowunmi Dada is also in the movie. To be honest, right, if I'm being frank, I felt like I've seen Omowunmi Dada play this kind of character before. It didn't really feel unique for Omowunmi Dada. Maybe because I recently saw her in Madame Coin Coin, particularly in Chapter 1 towards the tail end, where she's in distress. I think I see a bit of that, or I saw a bit of that in this film ÉGÚN. But even as this corporate young lady, Bolu, that she plays in this film, it just felt like something I've seen her do before. Yeah. Femi Jacobs is also in the movie. Ibrahim Yekini, aka Itele, is also in the film. Olarotimi Fakunle is also in the movie. I'm intentionally not going to talk about their characters too much. And Uzor Arukwe is also in the film. And I'm also going to jump and pass talking about his character. But what I will say about his character, Odun, I think they could have done a better job of making that character look like a boss, because he was a leader or in a leadership role in the movie, but they didn't really establish him as that, especially when he was in scenes with his subordinates in the film. So I wish they did a bit more in terms of making him look like an authority figure in the movie. All round, the performances were average in my opinion, and I think I'll talk a bit more about the performances when I talk about what I didn't like further on in this review. Ce que j'ai aimé. I liked that they used their space really well in this film, or their spaces. You could tell that this movie, the sets were somewhat confined, right? Especially in those scenes where there were a good number of actors in the scenes. They did what they could, you know, to tell the story, right? So kudos to them on the creative and effective use of space in the movie. I also liked the message in the film. There are a few messages in this movie, well, one or two, particularly messages on values and humanity, right? And I think when people see the movie and leave the theater, they will think about their own life choices and what kind of human being they are and how they show up in the world, right? So there was that. I liked the twists in this film. This film had a few twists that I didn't see coming. In fact, that was the first thing that I liked about this film as I was watching it, because, you know, there are things that happen and that I was like, that made me go, oh, okay. So that's not where we're going. We're going this way. Okay, let's go. And finally, there was a whole thing in this film about the Nigerian dream at one point, yeah? And it started a conversation within the film. And at first I was wondering, where does this, you know, fall in the entire film or in the grand scheme of things? But regardless, I did like it because it was compelling and it was different, and I did like that whole thing they did with the Nigerian dream in the movie. So yeah. Ce que je n'ai pas aimé. The acting in this film didn't feel very believable. Many of these characters in Egun are like everyday people in everyday situations that you and I will be able to relate to. But when things happen in this film, they don't act the way the average Nigerian would act for some reason. I mean, take for example, if in someone's office, somebody were to drop dead right in front of you, we know how the average Nigerian would act, right? But these characters don't necessarily do that, and it just made it a bit off. For me, anyway. Also, the lines of dialogue in this film, I feel, could have been better. You know, they could have been worked on to really deliver, you know, the fear factor and all that in the film. The lines of dialogue weren't really giving, yeah, and I think that's part of what made the acting not so believable. Also, there are police officers in this movie, and like a special unit. And I have to say, they were the tackiest police officers I've seen in a Nollywood film in a very long time. They just seemed rather inept, you know? The lighting and the camera angles and cinematography, I feel, could have been better in this film. I mean, it's a horror film and cinematography, but more especially camera angles and lighting play a very strong role in amping up the fear factor, or dialing up the fear factor in horror films. And I feel like they didn't capitalize on that enough. Yeah, I think that, the inconsistencies in this film. There are a few things in the story and also with the characters that felt a bit inconsistent. Yeah. And bonus points, the blood in this film, it really was... I think you just have to see it. Let me just put it this way, it didn't look like blood. In conclusion, this actually wasn't a bad one. You know, it won't be making my top 10 best of 2023, but it wasn't too bad. It could have been better with more synergy, you know, with the acting and better lines of dialogue and better camera work and lighting. I think that would have really improved things with this film. But all in all, it wasn't a bad one. Once again, I did like the fact that there was a message to the film, a message that bordered on morals and, you know, good character and stuff like that. So I did like that. But yeah, I didn't say who should see this film. See this movie if you enjoy the Leowo, I guess. They're not too tied together, but hey, same team that did that one is the same team that did this one. So there's that. Also see this film if you are willing and patient enough to see something different, because to be honest, this movie is a bit different from things that we're used to from Nollywood. I can say that much. Yeah. Time to rate the film. I give this movie Egun 2.5 jollofs over 5. 2.5 over 5. Thank you guys so much for watching this review. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you know the drill. Please like this video by clicking on the like button and subscribe to this channel as well by clicking on the black subscribe button. On this channel, I don't just do Nollywood movie reviews. I also talk about relationships, and I also have a podcast, not on this channel, on a separate channel, to check out some of my past Nollywood reviews or to get linked to my podcast, which is called the 30-Minute Podcast. You can click the card in the corner of the screen, and once again, that will take you to my past Nollywood reviews. You can check out the review of Madam Coin Coin chapters 1 and 2. You can check out the review of Iliowo from last year, or you can also, in the card in the corner of the screen, be linked to the 30-Minute Podcast, which is an entirely separate YouTube channel owned by me, but it's podcast stuff. The links will also be in the description box down below. Thank you guys so much for watching this review. If you enjoyed it, you know the drill. Like I said earlier, like and subscribe. Links will be down below. And yeah, I guess I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.